I started my own business one time, and I found out being in business for yourself, the best thing about being in business for yourself is you get to come and go whenever you want. The worst thing about being in business for yourself, you get to come and go whenever you want. My business was pretty good though. I was making like $75 an hour, but I was only working like 8 hours a month. So, anyways, I want to think twice about that. Your next comment coming to the stage, please put your hands together for Rose Nicole.
So I was really looking forward to telling my new set tonight. And over the past half hour I've been sitting there, I've developed menstrual cramps. So now we're going to see how it goes while I'm in pain and ready to pass out. But, darn, I wrote a couple jokes. See, this is how bad it is. Usually when I'm sitting in the audience, I'll write a couple jokes with other comedians, things they've said. And tonight I forgot them both. But I don't know where Danny is, not this Danny, but the other Danny. I've noticed that a lot of female comedians have had abortions. I'm not sure if there's a correlation there. Anyway, she always misses that joke. I've told it twice. So, I got a text from my mom the other day. My mom's a neoliberal. And the text said, I really think that the people of Russia need to do what it takes to take care of cute and poppin'. Cute and poppin'. So she's either having an autocorrect problem or she has a murderous crush on a dictator. With her, either is possible. It's kind of funny, though, the president of Ukraine used to be a comedian as well, a stand-up comedian, which you would think would mean I would trust him more with my obsession with comedians, but that's a throwback for people who know me. Anyway, so he used to be a comedian, now he's president of Ukraine. And he, in 2014, had a whole set that basically drew out everything that's going on today. So he basically predicted or manifested everything that he is living through today. So now that I've realized that I can use stand-up comedy to manifest all of my dreams to come true, I'm going to do just that. This is what happens when you have menstrual cramps. The only thing you can think of is pain. You have hemorrhoids? That's not worse. I'll be dating the brooding asshole that I spend a lot of my sets talking about, making jokes about. I'll get paid to stand up here and give you the impression that you should be laughing at these jokes. I'll find a dream job that is part-time and still pays my mortgage. I'll buy a house in the ghetto in Southern California, and in about 10 years, it will be beachfront property thanks to climate change and sea level rise. And I'm relying on the government to clear out all the infrastructure that has been inundated by seawater so that yachts can still get out on the ocean. And that way, I will still be able to surf. Yeah, and that's that. And another thing that I'd really like to do is get paid to sing, because I'm a really good singer. I actually looked into that around Sacramento, but there's no singing jobs you can get paid for except to sing at churches. But I'm not very religious, so I'm thinking maybe because I'm an agnostic tantric Buddhist, I could sing at Buddhist temples. Fuck it pays. And in case you're wondering what an agnostic tantric Buddhist is, that basically just means that I haven't had sex in so long that I think my imagination is better than the real thing. I did have a partner at the end of 2021. That's why I had to get an STD test after that guy. And I only hooked up with him twice, though, because as it turns out, my imagination is better than the real thing. So, anyway, you've already seen my own face. Anyway, let me see if I can get any laughs. I started doing comedy in 2020 because by the time you're my age, you laugh at all your own jokes and you don't care if the audience laughs. I actually laughed at that ohm face joke really, really hard when I wrote it. But the reason I started doing comedy is because I used to always tell jokes during karaoke songs, because I would do karaoke and I would choose songs with a really long intro and the audience hates that. So I would tell jokes to quell them until the singing began. But then in 2020, I couldn't do karaoke anymore. So I started going to the live streams of comedians on YouTube. And I noticed really quickly that I could not only get the attention of all the chatters in the live stream chat, but the comedians themselves would read all my jokes during the live stream. And I was like, oh, this is fucking tight. I'm going to be a comedian's comedian. But as it turns out, I'm really just a good heckler, because there was one comedian who's very staunch about abolish the police or reform the police, depending on the sins of the station. And I heckled him so hard that he threatened to call the cops on me. I actually had a really big crush on a comedian. I tried to date him, but he didn't want to date me. He didn't really have much of a sense of humor. I finally told him, if you don't like my jokes, you're not my folks. We got in a big fight, and I told him, you look like a mix between Popeye and Count Chocula, and I'm thinking your resemblance to a cartoon is a example of your maturity level. To which he got really, really angry with me, and I told him, calm down, Pop Chocula. And at that point, he blocked me, because apparently he's not into pet names. But I realized then that this would be a good item for my bucket list, because I always knock off all my goals really quickly on my bucket list, and I thought, oh, I'll put date a comedian on there, because everyone knows comedians are perpetually single. But the only problem with falling for a comedian is you go from being a hopeless romantic to someone who's just hopeless. And now that I've told a couple of jokes that always get laughs, and I still have a lot of faces, like the face I get from my mom when I tell her I'm about to do something that's not on her narcissistic list of life plans for me, I think that I am ready to call Danny Luna back up here. So,
Was that fucking terrible?
That was good.
It felt terrible.
Rose Nicole, everybody. Rose